We're gonna do a top 10 video why Asians can't get shredded. No, I've been thinking about why. I've been thinking about feelings. Let me start with that. I'm gonna first, dude, super cool. Mark Bell commented on one of my vids, and then a bunch of you guys, Sugar Punch, Latchkey, you guys are awesome, man. So I didn't necessarily get this diet idea from Cole. I've been following Cole's stuff relentlessly, dude. I've done it all. I actually helped a client, not a client, but a past friend who was reaching out to me for advice, lose like 20 pounds starting off with the pickles and spam diet that Cole was running at the time. I didn't think it was the best protocol, but I just knew it was like for the dumbest son of a bitch who just like was willing but unable to learn anything and not willing to educate himself. It was a great crash course for a high-fat keto diet. You know, for like 1 week, you're going to do that, and then we'll start to swap out foods. And I was doing it at the time just because I like to try stuff. You know, there was a Lent, I guess, 2 years ago where I gave up caffeine and nicotine for the 40 days. And I was still getting up at 3 a.m., going to the gym, and that was a wild time. Yeah, so, you know, I've been thinking about feelings a lot and why. So when I first started to lose weight, it was because I'd been sober a number of years, and, you know, I had learned in AA that there was this power for change and transformation. I'm just going to speak on my experience. In AA, which I was very heavy in at the time, hasn't been that way in a number of years. You know, I found that I could grow and transform spiritually and in my principles and how I behaved. But then there came a point around, you know, the end of 2020 and coming out of COVID where I started to look at that stuff as like low-hanging fruit. Not that it didn't require action, not that it didn't require discipline, not that it was, you know, free for the taking. But, you know, like look at Viktor Frankl. You know, like even in a concentration camp, you can still work on your spiritual state of being and your mind. When you're 300 plus pounds, you know, when you're 30-40% body fat, killing yourself with food day in, day out, changing the inside is great, but you have to do something about your body. You know, like you're not separate from your body. It's the most precious resource you have for your entire life is your well-being of your body. And so I started to like focus on my body, and I started getting on fire. You know, I was doing 20,000 steps a day. There was weeks where I would just challenge myself. I want to get 30,000 every day this week. I took a day off from work. I used some PTO, and I went out one day and I did 50,000 steps. It took me like 9 hours. I walked the entire city of Philadelphia like twice. From Kensington, through Fishtown, through Chinatown, Center City, up to the museums and to Boathouse Row, and then walked back up Broad to Lehigh, and then through North Philly back to Kensington, and then ran that shit again, you know, just chugging along. Sometimes slow jogging, sometimes sprinting, mostly just walking, right? But I mean, I did it all for hours, and I was fasting that day too. Racked up the steps and was on fire, you know. And I talk a lot about this feeling being gone when I talk with my wife. You know, people go like, oh, Joe, he gets up at 3 a.m. and he does these fasts, he must be so motivated. Dude, I haven't had motivation or inspiration in fucking years. And this isn't like some Mulligan Bros motivational video now. They're like, you gotta fucking do it, just do it, bitch. It's not like that. I mean, I've literally just grinded myself into a paste over the last 2 years without a lick of motivation or inspiration. And the only thing that kept me going was obviously the discipline, the routine, the habit, the drive, right? The will. But the fire was like long gone. We're talking about 2 years long gone. And this past week, you know, I haven't even like fully dove into the sugar diet yet. Like I'm only on day 2 of doing it 100%. You know, I dipped my toe in last week for 4 days. And I mean, it was almost instant, right? There was no like keto flu adaptation. There was no getting over like any sort of weirdness. It was like instantaneously something was different in my energy output. And I went from needing 3-4 energy drinks a day to get through my work day to I have not had one since last week outside of the pre-workout I take before the gym. You know, it's like around noon right now. I normally would be on my 3rd or sometimes even 4th on like a Thursday or Friday when I'm just like crawling to get through the workday and I'm busted. You know, every other Monday I attend a men's group. I'm up till at least 10 o'clock when normally my bedtime is 8. I still got up at 3:30, crushed the gym this morning, and these Tuesdays after my men's group, every other week I'll be busted on these Tuesdays. I feel great, you know? I feel great. My feelings are different, right? And like, it's easy to be taught that feelings aren't facts. And in a sense, right, like we all need to know how to compartmentalize our feelings and put them to the side, but this is entirely different. My well-being is improving. My energy level is improving. And what that feels like is the drive that I haven't had in a long time is coming back, you know, to really like push myself and challenge myself and take care of myself. And, you know, this is like, for me, it's starting to kind of all point at this same thing, which is this big mystery I've been chasing. When I look at like these, like, you know, a lot of people are probably familiar with TDEEcalculator.com or .net. It's like the most available calculator for getting what your maintenance calories are, how many a day you'd have to cut out to lose X amount of pounds a week. I've always had the craziest discrepancy. Like when I look at my steps, my calorie burn, you know, when I look at number of websites, when I look at what the treadmill's telling me, there's always like a huge discrepancy between what I'm eating and what's actually happening under the hood. And yeah, I understand that there's like, you know, margins of error to all of these things. But for me, my experience has been that the margin doesn't reflect the reality in any shape or form. Like, you know, my fitness tracker is saying, oh, you got 15,000 steps today, you burned 2,800 calories. You know, I ate 1,800 and my fucking energy is awful. I'm lethargic. I'm dealing with like battling off sadness and just general discontent. And I'm just chugging through the day off of routine and what's the word I was looking for? Just going through the motions, you know? And now I'm finding that my calories in are reflecting these numbers. You know, like I'm eating 2,800 calories. My watch is saying that I burned 3,300. And then the next morning on the scale, that's what I'm experiencing. You know, I'm like maybe like 18 or 20 hours right now into a sugar fast. I'm gonna push it for at least 48 hours, but I'm feeling more and more inspired to go for 72. Just because why not? Why the fuck not? You know, like run it, man. Run it. Like what's gonna happen? The gym still feels great. I'm curious tomorrow, you know, after I hit the weights, tomorrow I got a chest day up. I want to see what I feel like. And then when I wake up the following morning, which will be Wednesday morning, right? Or Thursday morning, sorry. I will like kind of evaluate my need for protein and fat based off of how my muscles feel. Yeah. So anyways, guys, just wanted to check in and talk about feelings for a little bit.